IELTS Vocabulary. 3 easy ways to get the vocabulary you need to pass IELTS. Okay, this video we're going to look at lexical resource. We're going to look at techniques to get that lexical resource, and it's important to get it because it's 25% of your score. And it'll also tell you a very funny way to get vocabulary that you'll definitely enjoy. But before that, I want to tell you about just one thing, that what to do if your neighbour owes you $500 or pounds and won't give it back to you. It's quite funny, but first let's jump into this, into the vocabulary. So there's different ways of getting it. One of the good ways is the academic word list. This will help you use the vocabulary you need to get your writing into an academic style. Personally, I find this list a little bit stale, a little bit boring, because it's just lists of words. I think the best way would be to find that list, maybe look at the top 20 or top 30 groups of words, the top 3 groups of words, because those are the most frequent ones used in academic literature. And then what you can do is go to Google, okay, and put into Google crime PDF or global warming PDF and get it, and you can see here that it's AC UK. That means it's like academic writing, which is exactly the style you want. What you can do is just go through it. This is just right at the beginning, and you can see the whole sentence here. And this is the style we're wanting to write into, wanting to emulate or copy. And we can say, we can just take the sentence and say a robust finding is that criminal activity is negatively associated with high levels of education. So here we could just say global warming and change the vocabulary, yeah? Or here we could say positively associated, and then we could say with higher levels of employment, high levels of pollution. Can you see what I mean here? We're building our sentence structures and we're building our vocabulary, and this is a very quick way to improve, but it's also, and this is very critical, it's written in the academic style of English that you want. And as you can see, London School of Economics and Political Science, this is not any blog writing we're going to be copying. This is solid academic writing, and you'll get this just by using .ac.uk, and that will help you get your academic writing. And like I said, 6 sentences, change your vocabulary, practice with this, get some feedback. If you want some feedback on your essays, you can check out sentenceguide.com, or you can go to IELTSwritingtask.net. Both of those places offer robust essay check-in. Let's carry on. So you can create word families. This is really easy as well, and it's a fast way, and it's a smart way as well to boost your vocabulary. Because if you know the formula, let me just jump straight into it. So go to Google again, and let's put verb, adverb, adjective, lists, then go do an image search. And if we know the root, for example, decide, and then we know the formula for changing it into the adjective, into the adverb, into the noun, we've expanded our vocabulary considerably. Now there's 2 ways of doing this. One, memorization, which is painful. Not painful, but it's boring, I think. But the best way is to learn the formulas. And so, for example, in some of these words, depending on the origin, we can put IVE and get the adjective. On some of them, we can put ABLE on the end, probably if it's from French or French Latin, whatever, and we can get the adjective. So this is a really fun way to boost your vocabulary. Now, while I've got this in front of me, I'll just share another way, and that's if we learn the prefixes and the suffixes. For example, if we put un at the beginning, we can have uncreative. And then just by learning that one prefix, we've got uncreatively, we've boosted our vocabulary. If we say indecisive, we've got the opposite. Indecisively, indecision, maybe we could say that. Indifference, indifferentiate, I don't think. Indifferent, indifferently. So some of these times some it's completely justifiable. And others, it's more difficult. But what I want to say is that it's just a very quick and easy way to boost your vocabulary. So let's go back to our presentation. And the third way that I wanted to say was very similar to what I was talking about earlier. Here I'm just going to go in. What I was talking about earlier was getting those academic English reports, going through and interchanging some of the nouns. But here what we're going to do is change it with synonyms. Okay, so let's see if we can just do that with that report we had, and I'll give you an example. So let's have a look at this same sentence. Now, if we've got a question about education, then we would probably not want to use the word education again in the essay. I mean, we'll probably have no choice but to use it, but we don't want to carry on using it. So what we need to do is find synonyms. And it's important to find these synonyms because once you've used the word, the examiner can't give you any more points. But if you use more words, different words, then you can carry on accumulating points as long as it's appropriately used and correctly used, the vocabulary you're using. And we can carry on boosting our lexical resource score. So let's just see how we would do it in this case. So here, instead of criminal, we could say unlawful. A robust finding is that unlawful or illegal activity. What else could we use instead of activity? We could restructure the sentence and we could say a robust finding is that engaging in illegal acts is negatively associated with higher levels of academic performance. Okay? Of course, we're going to slightly change the meaning, but what's more important is that we're going to pick up points for our lexical resource. Now, before I tell you about how to get $500 back when you've what I mentioned before I go into that, I give you another technique, bonus technique. What I would suggest doing is reading articles about the topics, the IELTS topics. I can't remember them offhand, but we've got employment, education, crime, society. There's quite a science, technology. There's quite a few of them. And here's another bonus tip. If you know nothing about economics and you hate economics, then you need to read about it because you've probably got very little vocabulary about that topic. And if it comes up in the exam, it's all over Range Rover. It's not good. Okay, so you need to cover your blind spots, cover your weak spots and prepare for them. The next thing, listen to podcasts with transcripts. This is a very, very good way. And you can go over to my podcast, IELTSPodcast.com. And most of the podcasts have transcripts. And what you can do is learn some new vocabulary, follow along while you're listening, and you're not only going to engage your visuals, learning skills, your visual memory, but you're also going to engage your auditory memory, and you're going to learn how to pronounce the word correctly. So that's the bonus tip. And now the funny one, okay, if you lend. So this is the story. What I'm going to say is you can use jokes and funny stories to remember vocabulary. So give me a second. So here's the situation. If you've lent your neighbor $500, okay, and you don't have any evidence to prove it, but you need the money back, what you can do is say, write them a letter. So a guy goes to, I'll tell you in story form. So a guy lends his neighbor $500. He doesn't have any evidence, doesn't have any proof, and he goes to the lawyer and says, "Hey, how can I get this $500 back?" And the lawyer says, "Do you have any proof?" The guy says, "No, I don't. I'm sorry." And he says, "Okay, what you need to do is write your neighbor a letter and tell them that you want the $1,000 back." And then the guy says, "But I only lent him $500." And the lawyer says, "Exactly. He's going to write that when he replies that he only lent you $500, and then you have your evidence." Okay, and that's a little bit silly, but what I'm trying to say is that you can get, and you're probably going to remember that story, and you've got some good vocabulary there. You've got evidence, you've got lawyer, you've got payback, you've got neighbor. And this is just a fun way of doing it. And if you want more jokes, of course, you can just jump online. And if you want more help, you can go to IELTSPodcast.com, or you can go to sentenceguide.com, and you'll see a big range of very high quality IELTS online IELTS courses. Okay, good luck with your IELTS preparation.